What's up guys, it's ScherBR talking and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be making a full review for the Romancing Festival Undine and Volcano banner. That brings Undine, a defensive support unit that brings lots of defense boosts and guard up. There is also Volcano, a damage dealer for heat damage that is extremely simple. And Ellen, a character that can get lots of BP gains and do slash and blunt damage while buffing herself. Well, the first one that appears here on the top is Ellen, so let's start talking about Ellen. She is a damage dealer with very high STR, 122, that's the highest one in the game right now, but she suffers from low endurance. Her agility is pretty good, and will is also good, meaning that she won't be easily affected with ailments. The other status don't matter too much, dexterity is just enough to not miss on current standards because they changed the dexterity formula recently. Moving on for passives, we have Active Momentum 2 STR. On the start of a turn, she grants herself morale up medium that will increase damage potential by 25%. Lasts for that particular turn. She also buffs her own STR by 15%. The STR buff is nice because she buffs herself before attacking, but the morale up medium is okay for farming, but not so good for hard challenges because it will clash. You can't stack morale ups. So if you are bringing someone like Let's Paint Gustav's skill that gives morale up very large, increasing damage by 40%, well, you lose all the 25% that you have and replace by the 40%. And it will be much better to have attack boost that will stack, but it is what it is. Then the second one is a Strengthened Focus 2 that increases weak attack damage by 30%, and she starts the fight with 12 BP. Then we have skill number 3, Intrinsic X4. Damage with axes will increase by 20%, and if she is attacked by an attack that will cause resist, reduces damage taken by 40%, and also has 37% chance to evade the same attack. Well, at least we have one way to decrease damage taken. All past versions of Ellen were just very fragile and could not defend herself properly. You can see the Martial Artist version was the highest endurance, but all the past ones were just on the 50s or something. So she was always taking plenty of damage from enemies, so now at least she can survive well. Not just because of that, but because of her skills. But before we discuss, she has 50% damage increase when you consider the passives, when with the morale up, it's 75, because she buffs before she attacks, she can do good damage. The problem is that her own skills are not exactly made for farming. Moving on, we have the skill number 1, call it Healing Axe. For 3 BP, you have a single target attack that's both slash and blunt, has C power and 16 mod. That's pretty okay for the cost, and it will recover HP by around 1000. Well, if you compare this to stuff that we got in the past, like Claudia, she has this skill that will recover HP, Healing Arrow. Look, it's 3 BP as well with only E power on 1 element. That means that we are getting a very good version that is just an upgrade. And with double elements, it covers more ground, but I do believe that Ellen is more designed to be used for remembrance. And that will allow you to place her in the front line without having to care about someone healing her, especially because we don't have many healers for Axis. Only Aunus and Ogniana. Then the second skill is Yo-Yo Plus. For 5 EP, you have a random attack that hits 2 times. That means you cannot choose the target. And with each hit, you do E power, slash and blunt, and buffs STR by up to 25% on max level on each hit. Well, when you consider the buff and the 2 hits, you'll be doing around S power damage with just 5 EP. That's not bad. It's not really that powerful, but it's not bad. And especially because you can keep using this to increase the damage of the next attack, and she already self-buffs STR on each turn, the damage will be actually pretty good. And in JP this was just slash. It's nice to see that she is now a full blunt and slash damage dealer. She was already using this type of elementals since her summer style, and that's good because you can back inherit into the martial arts version of Ellen that is based on blunt. So you can use axe attacks that do both slash and blunt. Now skill number 3 is called Saturn Blade. For 12 VP, you have a column attack with slash and blunt damage and double S power. Well, 12 VP is kinda high, right? Because it carries an additional effect. Well, by the end of a turn, she will get 1 BP, and this effect will last till the end of the fight. And it stacks. So she starts with 12 BP, that means that she can open with this skill, and by the end of the first turn she'll get 4 BP. But it will still need another 3 turns in order to use Saturn Blade again, and you have to use normal attacks in between. Well, her normal attacks do good damage because of the STR buffs, but that's kind of not that strong. And, well, to be honest, you can keep using Saturn Blade if you want, but you only need to use this 2 times, because after using it 2 times, you can just stick to using Yo-Yo Plus versus the enemy. Like I said, the power of the skill will be similar to S, so you can keep using it and self-buffing to reach even higher heights. But then you can also do something else. If you do not want to use normal attacks, check this version of Ellen and inherit Quick Spin. This is a deep power attack that only costs 1, so you will not be losing too much, and she will buff STR as well. And if you want a real nuke after using 2 times of that Saturn Blade, you can just go and inherit Deadly Spin. That's a 4S attack for 12 BP. And this Saturn Blade is also something nice to back inherit into this Ellen punch, because it carries extra BP, and this version of Ellen is all about RNG, but she lacks damage reduction passives. I don't recommend using this Ellen for future challenges. But something interesting happened, and they are releasing a new S version of Ellen that's global exclusive and carries 3 interesting skills. Well, look, you can simply ignore Yo-Yo Plus if you want, because, well, you open with Saturn Blade and that makes her a 4 EP per turn character, right? You can just inherit Slash of Terror Plus. Now, this is a 4 EP skill with a power 29 mod, that's entry level, but it also buffs STR, while trying to debuff STR from the enemies and apply poison. Slash of Terror can also be found on characters like Black and Butcher. The good thing about this is that they can be used for, well, Charmine Remembrance Battle. With this, you can simply poison Carmine and just wait all the damage and only attack the minions. So your Ellen will be able to do this, and she has damage reduction passives. If you summon for this new Ellen, it will make it easier. But this can be used with any other version of Ellen if you plan on skipping the current. Like I said, well, Yo-Yo Plus will feel like an S power attack, but it scales better because it carries 2 STR buffs, so that you will do more damage. But you can just choose to open with Saturn Blade and just keep using Slash of Terror and ignore the second use of Saturn Blade, as that will work just fine. The second skill is Savage Slash. This is a full AoE attack with 6 BP that, instead of self-buffing, will buff everyone's STR by 15% if you want her to become an AoE buffer. And the last one is Skydrive Plus, a triple S power attack with 9 BP cost and slash and blunt damage that will buff 15 points of overdrive for all other surviving allies. That is when you level up to 99. It's good because it's another nuke option instead of using skill number 3, but I still recommend using Saturn Blade at least once in order to get more BP. But in the end, it feels like she's still lacking something to become a real nuker. She works well for Axe Remembrance, but nothing beyond that. Because she's an Axe user and will work well for Remembrance because of self-healing and damage reduction, I have to say that she will receive an SS Plus grade, but if she was using any other weapon type, this grade would be worse. She works well because of lack of competition for Axe damage dealers, but for hard challenges, I don't suggest using Ellen. There are much better options like Leon, Schuzer, Silver, Gwen, and even Arthur. They cover her damage types. Well, there's a future version of Ellen, and this one is interesting because she has this skill called Garnet Dance that gives her a chase attack that is Yo-Yo Plus, and also recovers her BP by 4. With that, you will do more damage and use a stronger attack, call it Garnet Bora. This is a 13 BP skill that hits 3 times while giving attack enhancement, so that Yo-Yo Plus will just give her even more STR when attacking. So it's a good skill. It's not as strong as Leon, it's a simplified version. You have to keep using it like Schuzer. You can even use Garnet Dance 2 times if you want, so that you have 2 chases and then start doing damage. It works as well. The character does not really need inheritance from the current Ellen because the Yo-Yo Plus will already come from the Chase attack, and she already has a strong nuke option, so the current Ellen is not necessary, and you can get the inheritance from the Global X S style anytime. And other thing, this version of Ellen is also good for defense and has even 2 types of ways to increase resistance. And the next character is Volcano, mage with heat spells, and he doesn't have anything really high, but there's a good combination of agility, intelligence, and will, because he actually has okay endurance and nothing else matters. Volcano first passive is Heat Energy 1. He will increase heat damage for the whole party by 30%. Unusual, this will affect actually 15% increase if your characters are equipped with good passives and good weapons, but it also gives him 1 BP by the end of a turn, and like I said in my Selma review, this passive comes from the future. It's actually very good, and we'll probably see more and more of it in Global now, just like when they added Action Switch. The second passive is High Protect Tension, so damage increases by 20, and then when attacked, damage will be reduced by 30%. The last one is Great Battle Tension, increasing his damage by 30%, and starting the fight with 11. So what we have here is 60% and then 20 for a total of 80% damage increase. Well, and all of his attacks are hit, that means that it will work all the time. At least he has 1 damage reduction passive, he's not gonna take too much damage anyway. Skill number 1 is called the Flame Trio. For 1 BP you have a C power attack that will also buff his intelligence by 25% on max level. It has a 25% chance to buff all other surviving allies as well. Well, it's not a guarantee, and we have characters like Blue that can do damage and keep buffing everyone. So this is an inferior version, but a much cheaper one with only 1 BP and C power. Skill is good. I can't complain too much. The second one is Bird Song. For 7 BP you have a C power heat attack with 17 mod. That's okay. We already seen C power attacks with 6 BP cost only. But when the attack lands, there is a chance to buff the enemy's intelligence by 30%. That's right. It's for all enemies. There's also a chance to inflict stun. And remember that he does have high intelligence, he will have a very good chance to do both things. And it will cleanse out other surviving allies from sleep, but not himself, because yeah, he was not sleeping when he was attacking. So, 30% intelligence debuff with 7 BP is cool and all, because you can actually use this twice in a row, because he starts the fight with 11 and even gets 1 BP by the end of a turn. And with access to 4 BP per turn, he can cycle Bird Song and Flame Trio to keep increasing his damage and trying to debuff intelligence. The applications of this are a little limited because, well, this debuff is too high, may trigger the fire weakness pretty early, but if the enemy does not have the fire weakness, this is actually going to work well. Then stun does not work very often unless very specific challenges, and removing sleep from the characters is pretty strange, right? When you are inflicted with sleep, only on the next event, and well, after that you will want full cleans, it's just not one element. Then skill number 3 is Kilonova. This is a 10 BP AoE attack with A power, so it's just that, nothing extra, no additional effects. And I don't really like this because he does not get to use Kilonova by turn 3. He can only open with it, and then he will have to use Flame Trio and then Bird Song. It's not really useful for any scenario, because you're switching between AoE and single target. Even though he has very good damage passives, I don't think that he will be soloing anything with just 2 usages of Bird Song. You can inherit stuff from his AVE style, that is dropping easily by premium banners. Firehat can debuff Will. There's too many cards that debuff Will anyway. And Double Scoop is a heal, so that he can heal as well. And then there's Self-Immolation, that is just like what you can do with Galahad. Remember that he has Freeze Spike? Well, that's the flame version of Freeze Spike. But Volcano can only use this 2 times in a row. And then he does not have defense boosts with counters and stuff to keep him alive, just like Galahad can. But just to say that there is this option. He can also debuff agility by going to his S style with Firestorm Plus by Amplify, or Inflict Paralyze with Flame Whip, so that Paralyze can be used on Kazinsi in the future. And that's also Crimson Flare plus for a single target nuke. But here we need to discuss, look, this character doesn't have a single target nuke. You have to decide what you want to use. So the best thing you can do is to use Crimson Flare. That's too costly for current standards. Triple S power 62 is entry level, and 13 BP is old now. Those type of attacks are now costing only 8, so he needed a better skill to use instead of this lame AoE attack, in my opinion. So in the end, Volcano has okay damage passives, but bad skill choices. He doesn't have a very powerful attack to use in fights. That means that he's locked on just trying to bring intelligence buffs in fights, because that AoE intelligence buff is too RNG to make any sense. I don't think people use Volcano in any type of content. It's just too easy to find staff users that are useful, and then you just have better utility with many of other options. So Volcano will only receive an SS- grade, and that is just because of his damage passives. He is going to be easily demoted and is very, very bad. The last character is Undine. She's a staff user with access to water spells, and she has very similar status to Volcano. They both have bad endurance, they both have the same amount of intelligence and the same amount of will, but she has a little higher love because she can inherit heal spells as well, but a little lower agility too. Now for passives we have Elemental Heal 2. By the end of a turn, she has very small heal, that will be healing for around 220, and on odd turns she will recover 2 BP. And on even turns she will buff her own endurance, agility, and intelligence. That means that easily she outclasses Volcano by self-buffing. It's good because she is buffing endurance, a status that she actually needs. She does not need to buff her own will, because that one is already good enough. Buffing agility is nice, but she didn't need since most of her attacks are fast. Buffing intelligence will increase damage a little, so buff value is 15%, because she can only use this every 2 turns, the value will decay faster. Then we have the second passive called Cold Energy 1. She will increase cold damage attack to the party by 30%, just like Volcano, just like Selma, just like Will. And by the end of a turn, she will recover 1 BP. Again, this is from the future, and on average, you will increase the damage potential of your characters by 15%. Because of stronger weapons and strong passives, that's usually the average value. Then she has Iron Wall Defense 6, decreasing damage taken by 40% at all times. That is nice because it's not intrinsic, it's good enough, and she buffs her endurance. She's not going to die so easily. Then for skills we have Cure Water. For 1 BP, it's a single target attack with deep power that recovers HP by around 1000. Good, because she can self-heal without needing a dedicated healer. Skill number 2 is Ocean Veil. For 6 BP, you have an 8 power single target attack that is also fast, that will grant defense boost small for 2 turns for all surviving allies. That means decrease damage taken by 15%, that stacks with other stance of defense boost, and also stacks with Guard Up. But to be honest, Undine is all about skill number 3. Tempest Veil is a 10 BP full AoE attack with fast that deals both cold and lightning damage with B power. But that's not the important part. She will grant all surviving allies defense boost medium, that will decrease damage taken by 25% and last for 2 turns, and Guard Up medium, that decreases damage taken by 25% and lasts for 2 turns. Those 2 effects stacks, and this is actually the same thing that Barbara does. Barbara has it on her latest style, Allegria's Fascination. See, she applies defense boost and Guard Up medium effect 2 turns, but in the case of Barbara, she has to use this skill and then has to use Guard Up. She doesn't do any sort of damage, while Undine does some damage. The thing is, the damage is not even that great, but, well, she's attacking, it's an improvement. She can also be used well on overdrive if you need. And she can self-heal without having to rely on someone. And because she actually gets access to 4 BP per turn, and then another extra one from Cold Energy, she can cycle this perfectly. But she will have to use Bonks, yeah, because that will save her 1 BP. So Tempest Veil on turn 1 and then Tempest Veil on turn 3. She will always have both defense boost and Guard Up effects active. The only thing that she does not have from Barbara is that ailment resistance buff. That I don't know if it's not important because I haven't seen it make any difference when people were using Barbara. I don't have Barbara to say, so there's that. And Undine will also compete with the likes of Empress. Well, Global X Empress has access to Scrum Guard, and then she can use this attack from her Christmas style that gives defense boost medium. So 20 plus 25. Well, still useful, but Undine will be a little better. There is also, Gustave. And this guy is the best one, because you can use his tank version and inherit Let's Paint. That will give you lots of attack and defense boosts. And it's the best option for this type of role. Besides Gustave, we have another character that is also very useful for damage reduction. That one is the anniversary version of Liz. She has Karatsu Water Wall and can use usually every 2 turns if she gets to counter at least once. And this one will decrease damage taken by 50%. It's better because it does not enter the multiply calculation. You will have this active usually once every 2 turns. That means that you can choose the turn where the enemy will use stronger attacks. And Liz has 2 damage reduction passives, while also healing herself when attacking with spells. So there's also that will buff and the counter mechanics. Liz is the superior version as well. So I could say that Undine is the 3rd best defense booster right now, because she's a little better than Empress. But Empress has her full evasion shield that can be used in many different scenarios, so she's still the better character. But Undine works for people that skipped some of these styles I just mentioned. And Undine can actually inherit lots of stuff. If she wants to have a perfect cycle, you can inherit from her summer style a Quart, because with this you will not need to use Bonk. Just use Tempest Veil, then use a Quart, and then use Tempest Veil again to keep your guard ups and defense boosts active at all times. From her Global X style, there is also Rain of Life, that was just amplified for very good healings and also removing all status debuffs. There is also Dexterity debuff options, there is also Endurance debuff options from the Teacher style, also Intelligence debuff, but this skill is pretty costly, and a stun attack that would just keep enemies stunned forever. Besides that, there is also the single target heal spell. But to be honest, she will just stick to using Tempest Veil because this skill is just good, and she has something to offer. But she clashes with Painter Gustave's skill that also offers guard up, so not many people will actually have utility for Undine if they already have Gustave, and it's super easy to skip. But well, she is good as she is, but I still don't recommend pulling on this banner, and I will explain better. As she is, she's better than Barbara, and Barbara has a triple S grade. That means that Undine deserves at least a triple S grade, but it's not a mandatory character, and people can wait for future units that will have similar value. For now, this is the latest version of Undine. There's nothing on JP yet, so this is the end of the road for now. Getting back to the banner image, is this banner worth summoning for? In my opinion, no. I will only give this a Bronze Plus award. Why? Because Undine is the best character here. She deserves a triple S grade like I said, because she does have some good defense capabilities, she can survive well, and she can offer good support for those that misses out in the best types of support. But she does not beat the best ones in the game right now, it's more of a side grade and usually an inferior one. Then we have Ellen, that is a strong damage dealer for Remembrance, but lacks very good rotations. It seems like her gimmick was designed with something about very long fights, and well, you don't want to fight too long unless you have a very stable build, and for X teams that's usually not true. And then Volcano, it's a character that is just badly designed. I don't like him, he's just too simple. Nothing too much besides that AoE intelligence debuff. So what you see here can be easily replaced, and Ellen has a better style in the future that does not need this version. Volcano ends here and he's not even that important, and Undine can be replaced. That's why I will be skipping this banner, and I suggest you to not pull as well unless you are a fan of the characters, because Mew's banner is much better and we are probably getting better banners in 1 week from now. So that's my opinion. What is yours? Please stay here on the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.